Walker with 3 touchdowns, Gibbs with 2 tutties. Both running backs were straight fire in week number 4. And Achane and the entire Miami Dolphin team in the panic chamber. Miami Mike, is so frustrating that Miami Mike McDaniel didn't prepare to have a better backup quarterback situation when he walked in with the most injury-prone quarterback in the National Football League on a brand new contract, expecting this kid to stay healthy not only for 1 year but for the long term. No backup plan at all. In my opinion, it's a offense that deserves this man to be on the hot seat for the remainder of the season. This is inexcusable to have no backup quarterback plan, especially after watching what happened with Aaron Rodgers last year with the New York Jets, especially after concussion after concussion with Tua Tagovailoa. No backup plan at all. We got a lot of players in the panic chamber, but there are a lot of times where we need to make sure we pull back the reins a little bit and take our foot off the gas in terms of speeding away from some of these players. Now, some of them, they do deserve to have trade consideration. Sell even medium rare. Probably can't sell high on anyone in the panic chamber, but maybe you could sell creatively. And some of these players we will want to trade away. Some of them will want to trade for. Just because a player is in the panic chamber does not mean we run away from them, does not mean we abandon them, but sometimes it means we do. It just depends. It's case by case. The Fantasy Football Show, Panic Chamber Edition. Kenneth Walker, top 5 running back edition, hat trick. Look at this guy, hat trick for Kenneth Walker. Looked like an absolute top 5 running back. And you know what? If Charbonnet wasn't in the lineup and Walker out with injury, which is his one knock, he's injury prone, he's got to stay on the field. That's on him. But goodness gracious, what would this man be ranking in fantasy football running back scoring had he stayed healthy and got all the Charbonnet work? Kenneth Walker to the mother freaking moon. The Kenneth Walker Show begins right now.
Kenneth Skywalker. Kenneth Lightsaber Swinging Skywalker.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show.
Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Kenneth Walker looking like an absolute machine out there tonight with his 3 scores. And let's take a look at the game log real quickly. And Kenneth Walker, 80 yards, 12 totes, 6.7. Now, I will say that the touchdowns, when the touchdowns are not there, sometimes he can have bad games because he needs to be ultra efficient, and he is. He's got a nose for the end zone that not many players in the National Football League, if any of them, have this nose for the end zone. It's injuries that have kept him from continuing to express that on the field. 3 tutties. 3 tutties on 12 totes of the rock. And Walker is no stranger to pulling in footballs. Even though people think he can't catch, he's one of the best and most capable catching backs in the league. He just hasn't had a chance under Pete Carroll's reign, and now you're seeing that in full effect here under a Ryan Grubb system. 4 catches, 36 yards. Walker, 12 totes, 80 yards, 3 tutties. Other side of the ball, 14 totes, 5.6 a pop was Jahmyr Gibbs. 2 touchdowns on the ground. Surprisingly, they don't throw to him enough. They need to fix that. They need to remedy that immediately. I don't know that they're that concerned with it, though, because they're looking efficient, and Goff looked fantastic. Goff was 18 of 18. I thought there was an incompletion there at the end. 18 of 18, 292, and 2 touchdowns. Goff was remarkable tonight. 2 catches for 80 yards and a tutty for J-Mo. Laporta salvaged his night with that final catch, rumbling and stumbling for, I believe it was 30 yards. His long was 30. If he had not gotten that 30-yard catch, Laporta would be in the panic chamber tonight. And I think that's a real important lesson tonight, to make sure we do adjust and adapt. We do react accordingly. We do look at 4 games as a decent sample, but it's not a be-all, tell-all. it shouldn't make you go in a complete different direction than maybe a preseason gut instinct you had or whatever. We got to make sure we pump the brakes on some of the overreactions that might take place in the live chat tonight. There's always going to be a lot of overreactive Rogers, a lot of overreactive Rogers, an overreactive Oscar, an overreactive upset Unger. They're going to be in the chat. There are going to be a lot of people saying H-Hand sucks, H-Hand this, H-Hand that. And H-Hand's a little bit of a panic because his offense is struggling. But keep in mind how one catch Laporta went from being in the panic chamber, this 30-yard reception, to people saying, okay, there's signs of life. I don't know that he'll be given away for pennies on the dollar if I end up going and making a trade for him. His owner might say no. He had a pretty decent day in the tight end landscape that is the one we're looking at right now for the remainder of the 2024 season. This is actually a good game. 4 catches for 53 yards. 1 catch away from being in the panic chamber. Now, dare I say that his owner may have not watched that rumble and stumble. His owner might be expecting more from him. His owner might be tired of him not producing elite numbers. You could poke around at a Sam Laporta trade. But unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because he was a big buy low for me, knowing he'd be healthy in his next contest, I would have been all over the Sam Laporta buy low situation, and I still remain so. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he was this 1 touchdown away from being in the panic chamber. Caught 6 balls, 45 yards. This touchdown beauty, this toe tap beauty in the end zone was why he's not in the panic chamber. St. Brown now had a great day. Maybe not an amazing day, but a good to great day. He is not in the panic chamber. Do you understand what I'm trying to convey here in terms of where we're heading with some of these names? That one play can determine the trajectory of a player's value in ability to be out or into the panic chamber. So keep all that very, very at the top of mind as we go through these player names. David Montgomery had a pretty nice little day as well. Touchdown dependent guy, but 12 totes, 40 yards, 3.3 a carry. He gets a lot of the tough runs up the gut, so this isn't really on him and saying that, okay, Gibbs is such a much better runner between the tackles. I wouldn't say that. I'd say Gibbs gets a lot of the better stuff, which is why he always has 5.6, 6.6 yards per carry. And he's much better than Monty outside of the tackles, but 78 yards versus 40. They always get similar touches, which is fine. Timeshare doesn't scare me, and it shouldn't scare you because he scores 2 touchdowns like this. I would like him to get more receptions, but that's fine. Look, this game was a fantastic game to watch all in all. That other game was not. And DK Metcalf, 7 receptions for 104. This doesn't tell the whole story either because DK really could have had 2 touchdowns in this game. Definitely should have had 1. He got it all the way down to the 1-yard line where Kenneth Walker said, hold my beer, I'll take this first touchdown, and Kenneth Walker punched it in. And that was the beginning of Kenneth Walker's 3-touchdown hat trick. But on that touchdown reception, that long of, I believe, the 29-yard catch, DK Metcalf got down to the 1-yard line. Would have been a very different story had DK pulled in that reception. Not much other production of note other than this JSN quiet, nice line of like 13 fantasy points, 8 receptions, 51 yards. But good game. The other game was garbage. This game was a good game. Walker to the mother freaking moon. Walker's not in the panic chamber. No, he's not. St. Brown, no, he's not in the panic chamber. Could have been. Laporta, no, he's not. Could have been. Who's in the panic chamber, you ask? A plethora. Maybe the entire NFL is in the panic chamber minus a handful of guys. And we're going to break it down to the best of our abilities in a very short window of time. 1,000 people are in the live chat right now. Punch that thumb up button. We only have 99 people wiping their feet. Please wipe your feet and subscribe if you're new. We're literally about 130 subscribers away from 30,000 subscribers. 130 subscribers, meaning the 1,000 of you watching right now, if you just hit the subscribe button, there's easily 300 of you, 1,000 out there watching right now that have not yet subscribed to the channel. If you all subscribe right now, the 300 of you will exceed 30K subscribers on the show, and I'll change the background behind me and turn this straight to 30K on the live stream. I'll switch that out. You'll see how I do it, and we'll do it live. So just hit that subscribe button. Literally, we could, if everybody watching right now just hit it, we would hit that number in a matter of seconds. So please punch that button. Let's get to the panic chamber peeps for week number 5. we'll start off with Christian McCaffrey. Very easy decision to close the doors and call him a panic because we got news. Let's do it. Let's actually do it right now.
You are in the panic chamber.
Because of the news we got earlier today, which was that, let me pull that news up. We got it somewhere in here. I got Anthony Richardson. There's so much news today to go over. Where's the CMC news? It's somewhere. We had so much news. There it is. Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey has a double Achilles tendonitis situation going on. This coming from multiple reports. Matt Mayako is the golden boy beat writer for the San Francisco 49ers, and he reports that McCaffrey has Achilles tendonitis in both of his legs coming from Kyle Shanahan. And basically what the question was posed, is this new that he has tendonitis in both legs? And Shanahan said no, he's always had that. So it wasn't like the Niners, I think, hid it from us, but I think it was reported as if it was maybe one leg, and every reporter ran with it. Now he has double tendonitis in both Achilles, and it makes sense because as I've described how the Achilles tendon situation is, it's not like a random tear. It's a wearing down of the tendon. And if we pull out the... I have a foot somewhere in here. Here we go. If we pull out the foot, on the back of your foot, you have a tendon. You can actually feel it if you put your hand back there and gently just grab the back above your heel, below your calf. It feels like a cord. It really feels like it's this, around, and it really is. It's on the back of your heel. And that Achilles tendon it starts where your calf muscle, 3 different calf muscles kind of conjoin and turn into your Achilles tendon. That's why a lot of calf injuries and Achilles tendon injuries happen at the same time. Christian McCaffrey's calf issues are correlated very strongly to his weak Achilles tendon. His weak Achilles tendon, or both Achilles tendons now that we know, are a result of overusage, getting older. It's chronic, means it's not going to go away. It's not something you can fix. It's something he'll always struggle with. And essentially, now that we know that it's in both Achilles tendons and they're going to operate differently, the whole notion that this is going to be something he struggles with moving forward. Does he have a good day? Does he have a bad day? Does he have a good hour and then a bad hour? Now you're going to try and balance the scales of both Achilles tendons at the same time. The odds of his Achilles tendon feeling great in both legs at the same time for weeks straight is a very, very slim to none type of situation. So the panic is extremely high with Christian McCaffrey, and Jordan Mason's going to the mother freaking moon. He's already on the moon. He's probably going to Mars this year, but you need to cuff him to Garendo because Mason also has a little bit of injury, I would say red flag type of a tag on him. Not that he has an injury history per se, but an injury risk because he has never got this workload that he's currently getting right now, a workload that Shanahan shoved down McCaffrey's throat willingly because McCaffrey wants all the carries he can get. Every running back does, but McCaffrey got worn down by this offense and Kyle Shanahan. So Kyle Shanahan is doing the same thing with Mason. We don't blame him for using Mason right now. He's effective, but once he gets to a point where he's been fed more carries than he could possibly ever remember getting, he might start breaking down. I'm not saying it happens. I'm saying you have to be prepared, just like you were when you drafted Christian McCaffrey. And I said, do not leave your draft without Jordan Mason and Isaac Garendo. And people said, Smitty, how can I roster 3 guys from one team for one spot? And I said, I don't know. That's not my problem. You need to do it if you want to protect the number 1 overall pick value that you invested in Christian McCaffrey, in my opinion, which was not wise to do unless you were doing it in one of your, let's say, 5, 6, 7 leagues. I only wanted 1 share of McCaffrey across all the leagues that I have. Just 1, because of the risk of being 28 years old and the mileage that this man has endured. Christian McCaffrey is 100% in the panic chamber. Probably the most panicked player you might have on your roster, period. Let's close the doors one more time on him. Okay, so now that McCaffrey is in the panic chamber, 100%, we need to go to the next guy. The guy that was drafted pretty much in the same territory. In some cases, was a lot of our number 1 overall player in Bijan Robinson. there's certain amount of risk here. There's no doubt that this is a risky situation. The only thing that I would say is he's not extremely injured. He's slightly injured. Injured enough that I believe they took it easy on his usage in week number 4, which explains why we saw a whole lot of Tyler Algier, an uncomfortable amount of Tyler Algier. Where's my Bijan clipping? There it is. So much so that we saw a whole lot of Tyler Algier, uncomfortable amount of Tyler Algier. Now, do I think that might continue for a week or two? I don't know. And that's why he's kind of in a panic chamber situation here. Now, if Tyler Algier got injured, I think that's when we'd all breathe. And I'm not saying I'm wishing injury upon him. Please understand me. But that's when we would breathe a nice sigh of relief to know that the whole workload's going to go to Bijan. I think Tyler Algier looks effective, and change of pace work can be effective for anybody, really. I'm not saying Algier's not running good or hard, but he's going to look really good whenever he's used. And at the end of the day, we don't know if he's earned a little bit of a role in this offense, the way they're calling plays and the way they're using personnel. The one solace I'd have is, I'd say, look to week 1. Week 1, Bijan had the best usage, really, of any running back in the National Football League. Coming out of week 2, not a single person was really in much state of doubt about Bijan Robinson's workload divide. No one's concerned about Algier. There was rumors about Algier being used, and then everybody squashed him coming out of week 2. Like week 1 and week 2, there's just no touchdowns. Everything else is there. Everything else, perfect. Absolutely beautiful. It was weeks 3 and 4. Week 3 got the touchdown, but not the usage. Week number 4, it was just a bad week. It felt like Arthur Smith that returned to coaching over in Atlanta. But the thing I'm going to say here, I would sell high if someone was going to buy high, but the odds are no one is buying high. I would sell, I don't know if I'd sell even medium rare at this point. I think I'm holding him. I'm buying him more than I'm selling him. But I'm buying him low or medium low. I'm not even buying him at like a medium to high value because there is concern, there is panic. We've seen this before. There's PTSD involved as well. A lot of us aren't sure what to think. We're feeling it with Garrett Wilson again. We're feeling it with Bijan. If there are two more disappointing situations than Garrett Wilson right now and Bijan, I can't think of them. Because both of these guys were in the top 12 overall, and both of them were in the top 12 overall last year and completely disappointed based on coaching and injuries, etc. So we all put the PTSD away. We tucked it away. We said we'll deal with it another day through counseling, whatever the hell it took. But we're going to put it behind us and move forward and trust in the process. Trust in Garrett Wilson. Trust in Bijan Robinson. Let's put Garrett Wilson in here at the same time because this conversation is being had about both of them. At the end of the day, I don't know. I don't know. What's this commenter right here? First of all, bro, you have no standing with me or anybody in here to come in here and start telling me about the San Francisco 49er running back situation. Smitty is wrong about Garendo. He's trash. Get someone else. His backup says Juvie. he missed out on getting Garendo. That is a Mason-only owner that missed out on Garendo, so he's trying to make it happen. He's trying to will it to happen. Like Garendo's trash. Bro, you can't come at me with this situation, okay? Because I've had it to a T the entire way. So stop. You're embarrassing yourself. Okay. Bijan Robinson, Garrett Wilson, smash the panic button on both of them, but with caution. Don't sell low, don't buy high, but hold if you have them, and it is what it is. I'm not suggesting anybody go shopping Bijan willfully right now. You have to hang tight. You have to.
You are safe.
No, you're in the panic chamber, but you know what? Maybe that's the combination we do. We're closing it.
You are safe.
You are in the panic chamber.
You are safe.
You are in the panic chamber.
You are safe.
It really is both of them. It's both of them at the same time. It's like Sesame Street when they told you it's okay to have two feelings at the same time. This is what we're talking about right here. Two feelings at the same time. I mean, it's messy. It's very messy. Breece Hall. How are we here right now? How are we here right now? The entire league is over here. Almost the entire NFL is over here. We can't overreact to Breece Hall. Number one, the problem I have with this situation is that this situation is one where I worry about the pacing of the offense in New York. That I feel like the opportunities are divided in half and then given to the players. Like, hey, Garrett Wilson, what's the traditional amount of drives and opportunities? Cut it in half. Here you go, Garrett Wilson. Go do something with it. Which he could. Which he can. But, I mean, there's definitely concern about the pacing, okay? At the end of the day, win, lose, play from behind, play up with the lead. Breece Hall is probably one of the safest running backs in the NFL for getting volume, passes thrown his way, a touchdown target, where he's being thrown the football while he's in the end zone. There's really no other running back that has the capability of getting 70-plus receptions this year, having probably the number one or number two usage in terms of being a PPR back. I would feel very comfortable going and getting this man right here, Breece Hall. And I don't know that I would buy at his asking price, but slightly below, I think I'd be comfortable with it. I think I would probably go in the direction and buy this guy, 100%. But be careful, do what you can, be crafty, be creative, but be very, very careful not to overpay or leave yourself in a vulnerable spot. But I'm not going to put Breece Hall in the panic chamber. I just don't think he deserves to be in the panic chamber off of a bad game. Really, I think had he scored a touchdown and had 20 or 40 yards, more, then everybody would be singing his praises. Just like St. Brown, perfect example. If St. Brown did not catch that touchdown pass, people would be in here saying that he is absolutely in the panic chamber. Allen is better, 100. No, he's not. We love Braylon Allen. No one loves Braylon Allen more than me, Cameron. Don't try and step over me and pretend like say something wild like that to try and be a bigger Braylon Allen fan than I am. Don't say that. That's also wildly embarrassing, bro. That Breece Hall is not as good as Braylon Allen's a monster. Braylon Allen is an elite player that should be playing for another team as a starting running back. He could start for 15 other teams in the National Football League. He truly could. And Dallas was absolutely moronic to pass on him. But let's not get wild after 4 weeks. You're going to take the number one, number two, or number three overall player and put him below Braylon Allen, who we love. Come on, bro. Come on. This is the time of year where it just gets really wild up in here. Really wild up in here. Just absolutely insane how many Panic Peters there are, especially on this guy right here. People want to hate this guy anyway. And let me put out a disclaimer that most of the comments you're going to see on HN, oh, he looks really bad. I saw a comment, he genuinely looks like a bad football player, whatever. These comments are coming from usually 90% of the time somebody that was already hating on him, somebody that's been waiting patiently and quietly to comment, they've been waiting for his downfall, which he doesn't have his downfall. This is not his downfall. This is a tough situation that does cause for panic, for sure. Yeah, St. Brown did have a passing touchdown as well. You're correct. I'm just, if he didn't have that and the reception, like, because it came down to the end of the game, we would be talking about St. Brown in a different light, is my point. But St. Brown had a good day. St. Brown's nowhere near the panic chamber because of those two scores, and that's part of it. But I'm trying to say that if Achane scored that touchdown, which he should have had, no one's talking about Achane being in the panic chamber. Nobody. Nobody's coming in here saying, oh, I hate Achane right now. He's garbage. If he scored that touchdown, had maybe a few other plays go his way, we'd be sitting here saying how good he is. And now we're not. So there's a buy low opportunity here because of what you read in the chat. The chat is loaded. Our chat, a very Achane friendly chat, is loaded with negativity on Achane. What do you think his owners are going to say that own him, that don't know a whole lot about ball, or they are just a negative, unaware person about Achane? Then you're going to be able to steal him away. So, do what you will with this information. Do what you will with the beginning part of the season mixed with the last couple games. And think about for a second that Tua may come back. It sounds like it's 50-50. It sounds like he 100% wants to come back. It sounds like he'll probably maybe be pushed in directions from a lot of different people and loved ones. But if Tua does return, the offense returns, and Achane was absolutely a top 5 running back for half of what we've seen play out so far. Half of the current season, he has been a top 2 running back. So everyone needs to relax on giving up on him. If you want to get out and get into a safer vehicle, I understand that. I understand getting out of Breece Hall if the right trade was to present itself. I understand getting out of Achane if the right trade presents itself. But you can't leave value on the table and be a panic Peter or pull the cord early Carl and leave value on the table because you're trying to run away. You're trying to go get ice and never come back before Achane goes out and gets ice and never comes back. You're trying to end this relationship before Achane does, and you got to be very careful about how you go about that. So Miami's in trouble for sure. Miami Mike McDaniel should be on the hot seat for not having equipping himself with a good quarterback situation, knowing he has the most injury-prone quarterback in the National Football League. I screamed and yelled about this all offseason, last offseason, about how Tua Tagovailoa, I don't care what any doctor says, I don't care what any NFLPA representative said. When the NFLPA came out and said they had multiple independent doctors tell them and diagnose that Tua Tagovailoa was no more likely to get concussed than the average player in the National Football League, and I threw a fit over it. That was the worst analysis I've ever heard in my life. So there's a real problem. There's a real problem. Can this team move the football? Will they make a trade? Will they do something? I don't know. Miami Mike's got to do something. If he thinks he's got the solution on the roster, he is wrong. And his job should be on the line for it because this is incompetence at this point. It was incompetent how Miami Mike allowed Tua back on the field to begin with that game where he got concussed. And everybody said, oh, he wouldn't put him in danger. It's like his family member. Then I cite incompetence. You either threw Tua back on the field concussed and then he got concussed again, or you're incompetent because you threw him back on the field and you had no idea that his arms were locked up and that he was stumbling to get up and he was concussed. So I have a real problem with Miami Mike McDaniel for that alone. I love his scheming. I love his mind. He reminds me of Kyle Shanahan, one of the best schemers in the game, but some of the head coaching decisions and inabilities to do this and that drive me nuts, and everybody acts like they're both amazing across the board as coaches. Miami Mike McDaniel's got some issues. And the fact that he was not prepared for a situation that was obviously a concern, it makes me feel like he doesn't have what it takes to prepare a team that's a track and field team for battle when they have the most injury-prone quarterback in the National Football League by far and away, and there's no backup plan. So, wild to me. Going to go ahead and say panic chamber. No, this is still, again, a running back that, let me pull up the stats and see if they're even updated yet. But we go to running back scoring, and you can't say, oh, but lately or this and that. You got to look at the whole picture. And I think Achane is still inside the top 12 for RB scoring in almost every single format. I'm definitely going to buy. I'm definitely concerned. The panic chamber doors are open and I put them in here. But I don't know that I'm closing them in a sense that I'm getting rid of him and running away from him. I'm closing them maybe, if you want to say, in a sense of being concerned and worrying over the next couple of weeks what's going to happen. But I certainly do not feel like this is the same as some of the players that I'm like, get out, we need to run away. This is a problem. It's a problem for sure. Enough to close the doors. I'm not going to use the panic chamber for this reason here. This is a player that I would creatively buy low, but only creatively. ETN is a big panic because this guy was injured, comes off the field, Bigsby starts to explode. We've already heard a lot of great stuff about Bigsby the entire offseason long, and Bigsby comes in, looks good, and then I hear, and some of this is speculation or word of mouth and reporting and trusting those reporters. But what we heard was that ETN could have come back in the game. They decided to keep Bigsby in the hot hand approach. And he was, in fact, a hot hand. Ripped off a big, long run all the way down to near the goal line. Didn't get in, but what an amazing play. What an amazing feel this kid has right now. What explosiveness he's bringing to the table. I love ETN. Big fan of ETN. But the Jaguars are a hot mess, and their decision-making is a hot mess. And so I don't trust where this coaching staff's leaning at all. And so I would say ETN's a very crafty buy low, but he's absolutely in the panic chamber as well. Absolutely.
You are in the panic chamber.
So ETN definitely a concern, no doubt about it whatsoever. Crafty buy low. Hurts, yeah, he's in the panic chamber, but also a crafty buy low. But you got to say you're panicked about what's going on. But he's also down as elite wide receiver 1 and elite wide receiver 2. Like these are two of the best wide receiver. This is the best wide receiver duo, maybe outside of 1 or 2 combos. Arguably is in the top 3 for sure. So, I don't know. Quan, go watch the beginning of the show. We already did CMC. You're late to the party, but go rewatch the beginning and catch up. Hurts is probably one of my favorite buy low QBs of the moment because I still believe that this team has uber talent. I think Sirianni might be a bigger problem than we thought. I think Sirianni stepping in the way of a lot of things makes me even wonder if Kellen Moore's maybe frustrated with him. And Sirianni's just maybe he feels like the movie Big, where he gets put into this kid gets put into a grown person's body and he has to go to work. And I don't know if anybody's seen the movie Big. It's old, but it's a great movie. I feel like Sirianni is a kid and somehow he got this job because he acts like a child. He talks like a child sometimes. He reacts like a child sometimes. And I just think Sirianni's the issue. He's an egotistical maniac, and he makes horrible decisions. And I think this team's tired of him. I think Jalen Hurts has had his moments with him, and I think that's part of the problem. But I'm still buying low at the right price. There's still an opportunity here to go get this man at a reasonable cost, of entry for teams that might be down and out at the quarterback position. And if somebody has a Darnold or somebody has a quarterback like Baker or a quarterback like, I don't know, JD5 and Hurts, because that's a very, very common combo. Kyler Murray and JD5, Hurts and JD5. The JD5 owner that has Hurts is very much looking to get out of the Hurts game, so they don't have that temptation to juggle matchups because they just want to throw JD5 in, rightly so. They want to throw JD5 in. Why do they want to throw JD5 in? Because he's the only 5?
There are 2 5s? JD5, AR5? There can't be.
Oh no. They're gonna cross streams.
Oops. Well, damn. He's a fragile Freddy.
He's a 5. JD5 is the only 5. JD5 is him, and now all can see. He graduated from Himothy University. Unleash the Washington Kraken. JD5 to Saturn
And beyond!
to Saturn.
And beyond!
Supernova.
JD5 is him, definitely him. Love the kid. It's fantastic. So if anybody, again, owns both quarterbacks, because JD5 is a common pairing with Hurts and with Kyler, you've got yourself a really easy way in if you're struggling at QB, you suffered injury, whatever, to go get him. I'm going to buy him. I'm definitely concerned about the offense for sure. I'd almost put the offense in the panic chamber, but I'm not going to put Hurts in there. But yes, he's in there. He's in there, just to have a good conversation. Now, this is where a lot of people are going to, jump on this, get rid of. I saw a couple other very embarrassing comments to, like, cut Mahomes, drop Mahomes. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Look, you may not want him in your top 4 quarterbacks, top 5 quarterback ranking. And I get that. And I'm fine with everybody saying, I want to go in this direction. I want to go in that direction. But if anybody thinks through 4 weeks of football that this man isn't going to change directions even a little bit and flirt with top 3, 4, 5 quarterback numbers, maybe he's not number 1 losing his top wide receiver. I'm not even that crazy to think that, you lose Rashee Rice and you just become the number 1 quarterback. That is a huge nut kick. But at the same time, he's still got Kelsey. He's still got Worthy. They may make a trade for Devontae Adams. Who knows if T. Higgins becomes a KC Chief? And then everybody's going to say, now he's going to be good. This is a great buy low. Regardless of what you think, regardless of how he's burned you, this is a great buy low in fantasy football right now. Plain and simple. So I would 100% go after him, especially if you're hurting at QB. Maybe you don't love your quarterback situation. Then yes, you should potentially look to go into this risky situation and smash the hell out of it. I'm buying Mahomes at every turn unless I have JD5 starting for me. Unless I feel really comfortable with my situation. I love Stroud going forward. Unless I have maybe Hurts right now and I'm like, I'm going to bank on this. Unless I have, let's say, Jordan Love and just the right combination of everything, I'm keeping Jordan Love and rolling with my team. No one needs to go dismantle their squad. But keep in mind that most of the comments that are very extreme on Mahomes right now, the very extreme, you can tell the difference between somebody that says to themselves like, yeah, definitely a slump. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if he's 4, 5, 6, 7. Sure, I could get behind that. But the people saying that he's mid, that he's not even worth starting, that he's droppable, those are Mahomes haters or disruptors. There's no one that knows ball that's going to say this is a droppable player or somebody that doesn't deserve to be someone's 12th or 10th or 9th ranked quarterback starting for their team. That's also an embarrassing comment. Mahomes is absolutely in a slump. No doubt about it. He just lost the top 5 wide receiver in the National Football League, who we called on this channel, I might add. And I'm pretty pissed off that we don't have that situation going on anymore because damn, man, Rashee Rice was doing it. He was doing it.
Let him cook.
He was doing it. And now he's injured. Where were we? This screen. Where were we? But I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be painful for a lot of people that are aggressively going against Mahomes right now. You want to not go near it? Fine. You want to maybe get out of it because you got a Jordan Love on your bench? Fine. Trade Mahomes for a receiver. Go after MHJ. Go after a running back. Go after a Jacobs and a receiver. Go do something for your roster. I always recommend you try and take multiple players like that out of position, divide, and go get something. But for anybody to think that this kid doesn't have the ability to bounce back, it's wild to me. Absolutely wild to me. Panic chamber, I think he's worthy to put in here, have the conversation. We're tempted to hit the button just because we are panicked with Rice going down. What are they going to do? But I'm buying him more than I'm selling him. And I'm not selling him if it requires me selling him on the low. And we'll revisit this each week, I'm sure. But Rice is it's just such a blow. Matthew says, is Rice out for the season? Probably, bro. More news. The interesting part about the Rice situation is that they've been holding off on giving all the details, and that makes you think there's some sort of questionable analysis of it. Like, is his ACL torn but maybe salvageable? That's like, remember when Lamar Jackson tore his PCL? He didn't tear it in half. He tore it, and when you tear it, there's some lax to the knee because that the PCL and LCL hold that knee tight. So there's some wonderment, if you will, on whether there's something maybe they can get away with having him heal, but my guess is that no matter what, whatever they're molding over right now ends up being something along the lines of it's still not going to heal naturally without surgery before we get to the end of the regular season. So I think regardless, we're probably not seeing any sort of return, even if a miracle happened, but we're still awaiting. We'll probably know for tomorrow. We were told today by Ian Rappaport and Schefter that we probably won't hear on Rashee Rice. Here's the most recent report. Adam Schefter said, after further testing on Rashee Rice's knee today, there remains some uncertainty over the extent of the injury per sources. After consulting with team doctors and receiving a second opinion, more tests are required to determine the full extent of Rice's injury and recovery. So nobody should be dropping Rice yet because it doesn't seem definitive yet. As for this situation here at Tank Dell, injured last week, didn't play. Week before that, 5 catches in a shutdown game where Stroud was shut down by the Minnesota Viking passing defense, and this man still accomplished about 11 points fantasy football scoring. 5 receptions, I think it was like 50 yards, something like that. 5 for 50, 5 for 52, something like that. And so, everybody's complaining and crying about Tank Dell, how he's such a bust, he's a trash can, cut him, he's not worth grabbing. We're in week 4. This is the nature of it. There's going to be a lot of panic Peters, and you really can see who's a seasoned veteran in fantasy football that isn't reacting completely a different direction, like turning 180 degrees on a player that doesn't have any sort of indication as to why that it's going the way it's going. With the case like Miami, there's definitely more of an argument to say Tyreek Hill will continue to struggle. There's a very definitive reason why he's struggling. There's a definitive reason why a player like Jacobs is struggling potentially because he had a lot of work last year. There's concern about whether that's going to continue. Now, I like Jacobs as a buy low right now, but there's definitely red flags and reasons why we might be seeing what we're seeing. In the case of Tank Dell, there is none of that. Tank Dell, like I said, pretty decent week 3. Considering the lockdown situation that was the Minnesota Vikings. Week number 1, they missed on a touchdown that was overthrown by Stroud. We'd be singing his praises coming out of week 1. Tank Dell's the GOAT. Oh my God, he's so good. Everybody would be in here saying that. Week number 2, Stroud underthrew a touchdown that was completely going to potentially be a touchdown just based on the looks of the play. Then we would have been here 2 touchdowns in 2 games. Tank Dell's the man. And then week 3 wouldn't have been a big deal. Now he misses week 4 because he was injured. I'm buying Tank Dell. I'm buying Tank Dell. And the people that are running away from him and not at least benching him, like keeping him and benching him, are showing how panicked they get. And that's fine. We need those people to lower the values of a lot of these guys. But he's not in the panic chamber at all, especially at the cost of entry, which in some cases is on the waiver wire. So there's no reason to panic at all if you've got this guy. Worthy, look, his value is only going to go up. It sucks what happened to Rice, but he's going to be fast-tracked. He's going to go to get him in there and get his feet wet, throw him to the Fire University is where he's headed. And so Worthy's going to really learn quick. And there's not a single chance he's going in the panic chamber. Not on my watch. Jacobs, as I mentioned, a little concerned. Not going to put him in the panic chamber, though. Just somebody that, we want more production for. Andrews, let me just do this.
You are in the panic chamber.
There's nothing more to say. There's nothing more to say. He's in absolute panic. There's no doubt about it. AR5. Jeez.
You are in the panic chamber.
I mean, look, if he gets cut, I'm probably going to try and pick him up if I can. I'm not saying he's my number 2 quarterback. If I've got a really good number 2 quarterback, I'll just avoid it. But I mean, damn, man. I mean, this is a downfall that's hard to accept. Because, I'll admit I was wrong on AR5, at least right now. I think that there's still opportunity for him, but what a disaster of a situation. What a player, what a disappointing player overall. Showing he was a top 4 quarterback in very small sample. We all admitted it was a small sample, but 2 games played last year. Played in 4, but played really in 2 full games, and he was a top 4 quarterback. in those 2 games. Comes out of week number 1 is a top 4 quarterback again. And then he just looks like trash. But the problem is not so much that he can't improve. He looked a little better in week number 4 before he got injured. Problem is now he's in his own head. The problem is he doesn't know how to stay healthy. The problem is he doesn't know how to take a hit or not take a hit and just slide. Problem is his coach knows that the only way to make him effective is to run him like a running back and a quarterback, a duality of sorts that's going to get him hurt. So at the end of the day, it's like there's no real hope for AR5, in my opinion. Not at the cost of entry. Now, if he gets cut, I'd consider picking him up because, you know, some of us don't have amazing backup options, and this is a running quarterback, and there's some talk about him maybe getting on the field again ASAP, but I kind of feel like they're going to Joe Flacco this guy and say, we're going to take a look at the injury for another week and just sit him on the bench and make sure he's healthy. We're going to look out for his long-term value. And then another week, Joe Flacco wins, and another week goes by and they say, you know, we're going to go ahead and take a look at this injury one more time, sit him on the bench. Probably what happens. Joe Flacco's probably starting in multiple games, and that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Let's get to the super chats. $20 hauler by Carmine. Carmine coming in strong, says, lost by 2. Caused by K9. He's rough, bro. Rice out for the season. Pack lose. I'm mad. Please help my team. K1. Caleb. I assume it's one QB. Running back Achan. Hubbard. Brooks. MHJ. BT. St. Brown. It's a good team. It's a real good team. I mean, you're beholden to Achan right now. He needs to do well, and I think this team will do well. Hubbard. K1, not worried about Kyler Murray. Achan, it's all on Achan. Do I think you should make a trade? I don't think so. Not right now, unless you can trade Brooks and Hubbard together right now to get what was the Walker of week number 5, you know, for number 4. Like, you try and find the guy that Walker was for week 4 in week 5. Who is it? Who is it? Is it, let me pull up some rankings and we'll discuss. Is it potentially, you know, Jonathan Taylor injured? You know, can you do something along the lines of giving up a wide receiver, like let's call it St. Brown, and downgrading him into a underperforming player like Mike Evans, and in conjunction get some sort of, you know, your version of week 5's Kenneth Walker from week 4? Is it possible to get JT using that combo while doing the wide receiver downgrade? That's the only thing you can attempt to do, bro, is try and use St. Brown to get into an equal player of St. Brown's value. MHJ you already have, but that would be what I would try and target, is a player like that in a St. Brown downgrade trade. But make sure you're attacking wide receivers that I believe in. Make sure you're attacking wide receivers, I would say, like, let's see here. I would say, like, damn, man, it's so tough because you got my favorite one in MHJ. I think Mike Evans is the perfect example. DK, you can't go after DK anymore. You know, you could go after Olave if the running back upgrade was significant enough. But to be honest with you, Carmine, if this was my team, I would wait a week and I would let Achan either deliver or he doesn't for you. It all does come down to Achan for you. But what are you going to do? You can't sell Achan high either. I'm going to hold unless you can pull off the move that I'm saying. The Carolina Panther backs with St. Brown for a receiver you like quietly as much as St. Brown to get a running back upgrade. That's all I do right now. Lost Rice. Thought my week was over. Appreciate that $20 hauler, Carmine. Thought my week was over, down 30, but Walker saved me. Walker to the freaking...
To Mars!
To the station we have on Mars. Walker to the freaking moon, man. Walker's unbelievable running back. If only he wasn't injured all year, he'd have everything that Sharps was doing. I said this before the week started. Brian, appreciate your $10 hauler. I think you brought another one to the table because you didn't attach anything to that. There you go. There it is. Bit my tongue so hard yelling at space monsters today. Smitty, Kyron, JD5, and Worthy to the moon. Messed up my first attempt and first ever super chat. No problem, Brian. Yeah, I mean, JD5 looks like he's him. He's him. Absolutely. Kyron, he's a monster. Kyron's everything we thought he'd be this year, and Worthy will be too. So keep the faith. biting your tongue, I think, in a good way from those guys, at least from what you're saying here. Mahomes, and thank you for your first super chat. Mahomes, MHJ, Debo, J-Mo, Kyron, Ramondre, Pitts, bench. Very good team. The only thing I'm even contemplating doing is trying to trade Ramondre, but I don't want you trading Mahomes. I don't want you trading MHJ. I don't want you trading Debo. I don't want you trading J-Mo. I don't want you trading Kyron. So you really don't have a lot of options here. Unless you're trading Ramondre and Chase Brown on the high or something, I don't know that you have a single move to make. This is a hold team. Like maybe I would trade. I'm trying to think of an RB that makes sense for that you could even go get. I mean, Monty's probably out of reach for that. You could bank on, look, Ramondre, Etienne, they're both very risky. You know, like maybe I'm thinking Etienne does bounce back. If you can get Bigsby very cheaply, I'd rather have Bigsby and Etienne than Ramondre alone. But there's not a lot you can do, bro. There's not a lot of value in the territory we're talking here where you're giving up. Make sure Bucky Irving isn't on waivers. You know, you could solve this problem with waivers. I don't think Ramondre and Chase Brown could get you a player like Achane or Bijan or anything. Monty would be a tall order, but Monty would be a target of mine. The only other thing you could do is potentially sell Kyron off for 2 players, but I'd rather you hold and figure this out via waivers than mess up the team that I think is cooking. Smitty, Kenneth Walker to mother freaking moon. Let's do it.
To the moon.
I mean, God, what a day for Walker. What a day for Walker. And look, what a night for the show. You know, Achane didn't deliver, but Gibbs and Walker did. And those are 2 show guys. And Walker, the whole Moon Man, Mars Man, Saturn Man thing was kicked off. Not that we didn't say that on the channel for the 6 years that we've been up, but Walker is the reason I created the actual Moon Man list that we show and put on the board in the screen. It was all designed after Walker. Walker was the first Moon Man ever on this channel. And the reason that I created it was I always talked about to the moon, to Mars, and I said Walker is the best space monster in the league in terms of navigating open space. No one does it like him. I'm not saying he's Barry Sanders. I always try and be very careful with my wording here, but there's no one in the league that has the stop, start, change their direction, go from one side of the field to the next like Barry did. No one has that. He is the best version of that exists in the NFL today. It's not the same. It's not at the same level, but it is very, very recognizable in his game that he plays a lot like Barry Sanders did in terms of his change in direction, where he literally be running at 80-90% and can literally stop on the one step. It's unbelievable. Most people would take a couple stutter step stops, right? This guy can literally be going 80% on one step and change directions, cut back. Absolutely love him. Great night for the show in terms of Walker and Gibbs. Just feeling really, really good.
Mashed potatoes!
Doesn't mean there's all W's all around. I mean, again, Achane, this Miami Dolphins situation, which it feels unfair in some ways. Fantasy is a cruel person sometimes, fantasy football. And injuries, they always strike in the off season. It feels like nothing's going to touch us, right? It feels like we're invincible. All this is going to work out. Everything. We're going to stave off injury. We're going to stave off everything. And it comes for us all. So appreciate you. Was down 36 with Achane and K9 to play. I thought I had 0 chance. Then with his last reception, I won by 1.5. Excellent job, Megas. Appreciate the super chat. And congrats on the amazing win. Let me see if I have any $20 haulers. It looks like I do. This one's from Vin. Vin dropping a $20 monster on the screen. Appreciate you, my guy, Vin. Let me turn the alerts on to make sure I see these coming in. Thanks to your advice, I was able to trade Bijan for Gibbs. You know, as much as somebody might say, Smitty, Gibbs, Bijan, we talked about this during... God, how many questions we got on Bijan, Gibbs, Bijan. And my answer was always Gibbs. As much as I love Bijan, there's concerns. I had 0 concerns about Gibbs. I did an entire solo video on buy Gibbs before week number 4 kicked off. So if anybody missed that, And they didn't trade for him, and he was very reasonable. And if you think no one's trading Gibbs in my league, Smitty, that is the biggest bunch of crap I've ever heard. Maybe the one owner that owns him is a Lions fan in your league. I can't help that. But this was a guy that, go read the comments of the Gibbs video for week 4. There were people going, I don't understand why anybody, including Smitty, there was one comment in there specifically, is somebody explain to me why everyone's so high on Gibbs and why Smitty even likes Gibbs. It's because Gibbs is an absolute league winner. And this move was possible. So to your question, bro, Vin, I appreciate your $20 hauler. I appreciate you letting me know it worked out. And you were able to trade Bijan for Gibbs, as we talked about. I remember your question specifically. Any more trade ideas? 3-1, 10-man league. Mahomes, Kyler, Kyren, Gibbs. Look at your RBs, bro. This is a 2 QB league. You're golden. If it's a 1 QB league, you might not be able to trade either quarterback anyway. But I would look and see who's injured. But it's a 10-man league. You're fine. You're fine. Trust in Mahomes, bro. That's my main advice for this team. Trust in Mahomes with this team. Kyler, Kyren, Gibbs, Mahomes, Terry, MHJ. Trust in MHJ. Trust in Worthy. Trust in Dell. Smith will be back. If you have to decide between Smith and Dell, let's wait till later in the week to see who's healthier, and let's go from there. I'm going to tell you to stand down with this team. I love where it's at. You won for a reason. You're on the right course. Let's do it live. Smitty, you told me to trade K9 and DK for Saquon. I don't remember your exact question, Cody. I'm sure there was more involved in that. But Saquon's an absolute monster. They're all 3 absolute kings right now. So I don't know if that was the exact trade, to be honest with you, bro. But if it was, you got an absolute stud in Saquon, who is, I believe, the number 2 running back in fantasy football right now. Who I believe Saquon is the number 5 or 4 overall scorer in fantasy football. So you changing lanes, you're always running the risk of changing lanes, getting into a lane that's going faster, and then getting out of the lane that's going slow to get into that lane, and then that slows down and the lane you're in gets faster. That's the risk of trading at all, period. And if you try and go in a different direction now, you're going to miss Saquon exploding. So I don't know what else you had in that trade, but give my running back 2 Bucky for Sharbs and Najee. I'd rather have Bucky Irving than the very bland playing Najee and Charbonnet, who's now the backup. I don't think I do that, bro. Bucky's on the rise. It's a tough call, though. Like, Bucky could vanish as quickly as he's emerging, though. But I would take the chance on Bucky. Will you trade Brees for Gibbs and Godwin? Bro, Gibbs is better than Brees right now. So, of course, you're getting Godwin on top of that. I'd be afraid my league, if you played in a league that had vetoes, which I don't do, I'd be afraid that my league would veto that. Who do you have rest of season, Mahomes or Hurts? I have Mahomes by a hair, but they're both very good buy lows. Do I trade Monty, DK, and Worthy for Debo and Kyren, or Debo and Achane? Definitely Debo and Kyren's worth 10 times more than Debo and Achane right now, bro. Like, you got to think about this smartly. What offense is producing right now? Trade Monty and DK. I would trade Monty and DK. I would try to hold Worthy off, bro, from this trade. But Debo and Kyren, absolutely. If I had to give, I would give it and take Debo and Kyren. Debo and Kyren's the best situation, but try and keep Worthy somehow, some way. Superfish's Skyler was the answer, but also having Boyle was not. I don't know if Skyler was the answer, but, you know, I know you have faith in him, but I just don't. I don't think that was a good backup decision. I think Miami Mike McDaniel should be held accountable for this right now. I'm not saying to be fired, but he needs to fix it. He needs to make a trade. I'm not saying he has full power of that, but he needs to urge and usher a trade to happen and fix this situation. Because Miami Mike McDaniel, if he just tries to drag his feet like the Jets did with Zach Wilson, you're not going anywhere. You know what I mean, Superfish? I'm not yelling at you. I'm just saying, I just can't believe that there's nothing in motion. And KC's got to get something in motion too. They'll be able to survive without it. They still got weapons. I mean, name teams, there's like 4 or 5, like the Niners and the Eagles, that have more weapons than the Chiefs. The Chiefs still have a lot of weapons. They still got weapons, for sure. There's a lot of teams that have a 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, top 5 tight end, and 1 wide receiver. Like, I'm not saying Kelsey's absolute lock, but I think that now that Rice is out, we might see a different offense. We might see, and if anybody wants to bank against Mahomes, I understand. I understand, but you're going to bank against Mahomes and Andy Reid. Andy Reid is one of the best play callers in the game, one of the best coaches to ever coach the game. And they're 4-0. They're gonna. This is not a situation where we're looking at it and going, this is such a crazy. Like Achane, I can understand running away from that because the offense looks bad and they're losing. The Chiefs are 4-0 and there's problems. That to me is a zero red flag situation. There's slumping, there's no production, but it's a zero red flag situation. And Rice going down just means that he's not that guy to be number one potentially at the end of the year anymore. JD5 is a better guy for that. But, the anti-Mahomes people, you can't convince them. This is like trying to argue politics with somebody that doesn't share your viewpoint. There's nothing that you can do in this conversation. Trade, stand down. My MHJ, Moss for Gibbs and Bowers. I would rather have Gibbs and Bowers by a hair, but I love MHJ, but I'm taking the running back. And that's a good trade. There's still a lot of other things you could do on that team, but let's start with that one. That's a good one, bro. Jonathan, trade Breece Hall for JD5. My QB is Kyler. If this is a 1 QB league, you can't give a top 5 overall player for a quarterback that, yes, if we drafted today, maybe JD5 does go right along Josh Allen. But that's still like 2nd to 3rd round value. I'm not saying that makes sense because once kickoff happens, quarterbacks have more value. But you have Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray and Breece Hall is better than just JD5. I know you want to buy the value, but the value is spiked, and this is not the way to go about acquiring JD5. Need help 1 and 3, 10-team half PPR. Hurts, Breece, Kyron, Debo Diggs, McBride, Terry. Desperate for a win. I mean, this is a good team. Like, what are you going to do? You can maybe trade Pickens and Dobbins. Pickens and Dobbins for an underrated MHJ type player. That's what I do. You could always buy Cooper Kupp on the fall right now, and you could give up maybe Terry or Pickens, one of the two. Dobbins for Cooper Kupp. I know you need a win right now, but it's a long season, and that move might get you 6 wins in a row. So that would be probably my first thought with that team. All right, let's go, Ian, with this super chat from Ian. 10-team, 2 QB, 3 and 1. Mahomes, JD5, Bijan, Jacobs, MHJ, JMO, Kincaid, Connor. Love the team, BT. Nervous to see what moves to make, bro. I look, your team's phenomenal. 2 QB, you couldn't be set up better. Don't freak out about Mahomes as your number 2 QB at a super flex. You'll be fine. Bijan, Jacobs, MHJ, JMO. I'm not touching this squad. Anything that you need to move is going to take away from the squad as much as you're going to get back. Just wait on it. Be patient. You're 3 and 1 for a reason. Don't be nervous. Your quarterbacks alone will keep you in the top half of that league, almost guaranteed. Smitty, you're not going to believe it. I'm panicking. I'm a panicking Peter. A Panic Peter dropped Worthy Sunday at 12. He's now a free agent. I do an entire load drop on that, my guy, 100%.
Initiate full load drop.
100% full load drop. I would do 100%, bro. Appreciate you dropping that. And it's good that you said that because a lot of people might wonder if they see him out there to know my thoughts on that. $10 hauler. Half PPR. Would you do T. Higgins for Mostert, Keenan, and Worthy? I have Rice, Waddle, BT. I would probably say, bro, I'd rather have Worthy than T. Higgins. But T. Higgins could get traded to KC. And then it's going to be like, what do we do? I'd rather have Worthy than T. Higgins. Worthy's the number 1 wide receiver for KC now. T. Higgins is the number 2 wide receiver for Joe Burrow, who's playing good, but it is potentially an up and down situation. Definitely gonna keep or smash the Worthy side of that trade. Murph, appreciate you. Do Kyron owners need to roster quorum? I think it's probably Rivers right now, but if it's me in the roster bench, the bench is big and I can get away with it, I'm rostering both backups because it's that important to victory. And it's not like every backup is important, but a McVay running back is like a Shanahan running back. Is Jordan Mason really, I hate to say this because we love Jordan Mason and this is a Jordan Mason community. Nobody liked Jordan Mason more than this channel right here. But is Jordan Mason really the reason, or is it a combo of he's a good running back for sure, but Shanahan's system? I love Kyron. Is Kyron as good as Tomlinson was? Hell no. What was Priest Holmes as good as Barry Sanders or Emmett, or you could say, was Emmett Smith as good as Barry Sanders? I don't think he was. Was Tomlinson light years ahead of Clinton Portis and all those guys? Like there's just different talent levels. Portis was good. Arian Foster, the number one running back in fantasy football for a couple different seasons, was nowhere near the level of a LaDainian Tomlinson or Marshall Faulk, but he was as good fantasy-wise. So understand that McVay is the reason why Rivers or Corum would thrive, and they would thrive. So as hard as it is to hear, if I'm a Kyron owner, I want all three just to make sure that when the time comes and Corum does get the 2 job, and that could be in week 10, I have it covered no matter what week it is. Who to buy, sell. 12 team. Allen, AR5, Watson. Superflex. Oh man, Watson, Achan, Monty. This is a pretty good squad at the end of the day. I guess I would be tempted to sell like Ayuk and Brooks for one player, and Chuba, Brooks, and Ayuk for a stud. I'd be very tempted to go after Bijan with that combo. I'm seeing a lot of people willing to trade Bijan for a straight across one player now. And I'm not saying this isn't deserving, but let me give you an example. A lot of Kenneth Walker questions. Would you take Kenneth Walker for Bijan straight up? Something you would never hear coming into week 4. So, and I'm not trying to argue that's a wrong move. I'm trying to merely say that if you think that Brooks and Ayuk can't get Bijan, it couldn't. Now it can. It might even get you Bijan and another player. So I'd be tempted to maybe move for a running back. Barkley off of a bad game probably won't get that, but you could try. JT's banged up. You could maybe go in that direction. Achan, hold him versus sell him. But I like your squad. I don't mind doing what you're thinking. I think it's pretty decent. Lando with the $5. Someone sent me Achan, Ford, Mooney, and Ingram, and I give them Derrick Henry, Kincaid, and Worthy. You can't do this. You can't do this. Derrick Henry is playing at an elite level right now. No matter how scared you are about his age or anything, or the offensive line, look, they're firing on all cylinders. It just is what it is. You cannot run away from the situation. The Derrick Henry, Worthy, Kincaid side on every level crushes the Achan side. And that's hard for me to say because I love Achan, but I'm an objective person. And you adjust and adapt, and King Henry is not somebody you should be trading, my man, at all. That would be one of the worst decisions you could make right now. Walker and Ridley for Jaden Reed and David Montgomery. I'd rather have Jaden Reed and Monty. Even though I love Walker, I don't trust Reed at all. And Reed is, I don't trust Ridley at all. Reed is a top 12, 15 wide receiver right now. Monty's a top 10, 12, 14, top 12 to 14 running back. That side is a little bit better. But it's really hard to sell Walker. But Walker also has trouble staying healthy, so it's not like we're running from him. We're enjoying the hell out of what Walker's bringing to the table. But that is a scenario where you do probably trade him. How much fab to spend on Kareem Hunt and Wicks? Also, is it time to start putting Chase Brown back in the lineup? It might be time to start putting Chase Brown back in the lineup. Wicks and Hunt, I'd do a 50-50 split. You're getting to the point where not a lot of players are going to be left at this point, bro. And I'd want both those players. They seem to be probably the best options on the waiver wire for some time to come. Trading AJB and Kyler for Achan and Evans. If you don't need a quarterback, this makes sense. Because Evans and AJB are pretty even. I would rather probably have AJB if he's fully healthy, but he's not. Evans is a great buy low. You're getting Achan for Kyler. As long as you're good at quarterback, I think that's an absolute smash. Darwin, appreciate your $10 hauler. Just lost Rice 4-0. No priority waivers. Team Love, Cook, Gibbs, DK, JJ, Fryermuth, Butker, Ford, Coleman, Benson, Andrews, Fields. What can I do next? I'd probably say shop Fields if you can get rid of them on the high. Fields, and maybe you could go after Bijan with Fields and Cook. You could go after potentially I would say Andrews and let's see here. And no one's going to really buy Andrews straight up. But if you threw him into a deal, I wonder if you could give up like Andrews and Cook for Bijan. If you wanted to go that direction, could you get a potential, I don't know, DK for, what wide receiver would I buy low with DK right now? MHJ. So DK downgrade to MHJ. Could that bump Cook up a slight bit? Could that bump Andrews up a slight bit? Go see what wide receivers DK can get you on the high, and buy on the low. I'm not in the business of selling DK, but you want me to make a move. That's the only move I can come up with where I'm not destroying your team. Losing Rice, and you could destroy it by making the wrong move, so check with me on the player. JD5, Kyron, Monty, Mason. What a running back stable. And what a quarterback. What a tripod. Brooks, Zamir, Amon-Ra, St. Brown. Strange seemed okay a week ago. Now I'm feeling shaky at wide receiver. I mean, yeah, I would say, look, Amon-Ra, Shaheed, it's pretty decent. It's not horrible. But, I mean, yeah, that is shaky at wide receiver because you only have Shaheed that you've given me as a wide receiver. So I don't know what else you got. But, I mean, am I tearing it down? I'm trading Brooks maybe. Brooks and Shaheed, Brooks and another receiver. You know, like if you got a BTJ on the bench to get that MHJ to get something. I don't think I'd touch anything else. Maybe Brooks and Monty to go get. Maybe you take a stab at Bijan. Bijan's attainable right now at prices he should not be attainable at. Not saying there isn't risk. I'm just saying he's there. He's attainable. They also find changing Devontae for Irving. Killer, I don't know. He's also fine changing Devontae for Irving. What's this? Devontae for Bucky Irving. Got offered MHJ and Devontae. So you're saying either Devontae or Irving with MHJ for Amon-Ra and Godwin. You can't trade Amon-Ra and Godwin. Godwin's playing too well. Devontae Adams is interesting, though. It could be arguable if Devontae gets back on his horse, but I'm not doing that. I have Stroud and HN and B-Rob and Pickens and Shaheed. Try trading B-Rob and Pickens for like one player, bro. Like try and go after those the Bijan types that are struggling. Wong with the $20 hauler. Wong, appreciate you. Love Darnold, running back Ramondre Pollard, Chase Brown, Zamir, Charbonnet, wide receivers Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Devontae, Puka, Allen Whittington, tight end Kraft. Do I let this team ride? Got offered DJ Moore and Kyron for Chase and Ramondre. That's pretty even, to be honest with you. I mean, DJ Moore is good enough that, like, I don't consider him trash. I'd definitely love to have him as my wide receiver 3-4, and, like, even some would say 2-3. But, you know, Ramondre is tough. I'd probably say give me the Jamar Chase Ramondre side in hopes that Ramondre does what he does, and, you know, Kyron being an RB and all that, I don't know. It's tough. Chase is so good. Ramondre or Kyron's so good. I want both of them. It's pretty even, pretty dead even. As for the rest of this team, would I rather just go in a direction of see if anybody needs? This is a 2-flex QB. 2-flex. It doesn't say super flex though. It says 2-flex, and then your QBs are. I would try and trade Darnold on the high. Start roll with Love. Try and upgrade Ramondre. Try and upgrade Pollard. Try and upgrade potentially. You know, use Puka and Ramondre to get one player like Bijan or a doubted player. HN comes to mind. Using Ramondre and Puka. Someone might do that, Wong. That would be a pretty good move, in my opinion. Hero, appreciate your $10 hauler. Team is JD5, Chase, DK, JT, Monty, Pitts, Ayuk, Steele, Gus, Burrow. 2-2, slightly panicked, but I should be able to turn it around. I mean, your receivers are off the hook. Monty and JT's just fine. Ayuk, I'd maybe trade like Ayuk and maybe, I don't think you really have anything to pair him with though, bro. You know, Ayuk and what? Ayuk and Monty for a Bijan, is that even worth it? Maybe not. Tough to say. It'd have to be Barkley, Bijan, a caliber of player right there. If not, maybe you can get rid of Ayuk and Pitts for Laporta and something. Laporta didn't explode, so maybe it's doable. You could get Laporta and like Worthy for Ayuk and Pitts. Something along those lines. See what the player with Worthy has to give Ayuk. That would be where I'd probably take that team initially. Because there's certain players that I target right away when I do a trade, and that's one I would do with that team. $5 hauler. Trade Justin Herbert, AJB, Keenan Allen for Lamar, DJ Moore, and Amari in a super flex. Trade Justin Herbert. Yeah, you get Lamar, you got to take Lamar. Plain and simple. Like the Amari Cooper, DJ Moore for AJ Brown. Who cares? The downgrade, sure. But do you want Lamar? Absolutely. No brainer whatsoever. Niner, appreciate you dropping it. Need your advice, Smitty. Got AR5, Fields, Mason, JT, AJ, Cooper Kupp, Shaheed. Any moves? I'd probably say, bro, I mean, you got to go with Fields right now. Mason, JT, AJB coming back, Kupp. Not much you can even do here. Waddle and Adunze. Waddle and maybe AR5 for an upgraded QB. You know, Mahomes. AR5 and Waddle for Mahomes and something. Maybe they got a Dell that they'll throw in for free that they're about to cut. Like something like that I'd look at. And then I'd also look at, you know, maybe a Cooper Kupp and Waddle for a receiver that's playing now. You know, MHJ. Maybe you get something else in that. St. Brown would have been perfect. Now he's off the table. A lot of these players are going to be off the table now. It's just not as easy to trade for these guys. Despite a subpar Mahomes losing Rice and not getting Breest this week, DK, Gibbs, and Mason bailed me out 4 leagues. Attaboy Andre, thanks for sharing the positive news for somebody that got hit with some stuff and still had a victory. So nice job. Lost by 2 because I had Waddle instead of Downs. You couldn't have expected that. I mean, look, I would have started Waddle over Downs every time. Just Waddles. Downs, you didn't know what you were going to get anyway. It's not a crazy move. Don't feel bad about that. Would it be good to trade away Kyron to get Achane and Deontay Johnson or Pickens? I don't think that wide receiver is enough. Would I do that in a move that landed me like MHJ for my Deontay? Like as a 2, you know, I know you're getting a Deontay here, but you get my sense of if I'm upgrading my wide receiver in a 2 for 2 to get to MHJ, or I'm being handed a free Devontae Smith or something like that, or Cooper Kupp who's injured with Achane, it makes sense. Other than that, no, I wouldn't trade Kyron away for that. Kyron away for 2 players that are meaningful, I would do that if I'm you, but it has to be meaningful players. Trade away Olave to get Garrett Wilson and Algier. I would say right now, bro, no. And Algier isn't somebody that I feel like I have to have or I'll lose my league. I just think that Olave is safer than Garrett Wilson right now. I just don't know what to make of Garrett Wilson. 4-0. It's close, though. Trust your gut in, you know, getting the cuff, I understand. And Garrett Wilson could be better than Olave going forward. We don't really know. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Chat, we want Olave over Garrett Wilson, even if we're getting our cuff in Algier, right? Can we get a vote on that one? $20 hauler from Andre. 4-0, 10 team, 1 QB, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and a flex. Thank you for the $20 hauler. Gino, Mahomes. I don't see super flex here. Okay, so Gino, Mahomes, Brees, Allen, so cuffed. Gibbs, Mason, very good. You got Garendo, very good RBs. DK, Ayuk, lost Rice. You're still looking good. Kincaid, need 1. Trade at least 1 suggestions. You're the GOAT. Thank you, Andre. Appreciate your super chat. What a team. I mean, remarkable job where you get hit with this and you're still a top team. You're still a top team, no doubt about it. And I'm keeping Kincaid. I'm keeping everything here, bro, except for maybe I trade Ayuk and Stevenson for 1 player. Chase Brown and Ayuk for 1 player. And what would that 1 player be? Bijan. Stevenson and Ayuk for Bijan. Stevenson and Ayuk for MHJ. Stevenson and Ayuk for... You can't get Chase anymore. You can't get Lamb anymore. You can get MHJ, maybe even a Mike Evans. You start getting close to being past that line of it doesn't work anymore, you know, unless you're getting an injured Neighbors or a Nico Collins, which I highly doubt you're going to be able to do that. MHJ's doable, though, and I love MHJ, but that's a tough one. That's a tough one, and you got to be careful, though. You know, Ayuk is talented enough that he could score like a 3rd or 4th rounder, you know, or a high 3rd rounder if he gets in a groove and gets back on track or Debo goes down. So you have to be very careful. If Stevenson and Ayuk needs to be for a specific level. It can't even be for a London anymore. London doesn't even deserve that. Traded Ayuk and Jahan for Worthy. Juwan Jennings. Ayuk and Juwan Jennings for Worthy and Dell. I think it could go either way. Hero, I don't want you to think that I don't like the side that you have. I'm just saying it's a very close 50-50 call. Would I rather have Worthy? Probably. Would you hold on to Bijan? I got Monty and Chubb on IR. Would I hold on to Bijan? Yeah, but I mean, Aaron, it's a loaded question. It depends. Would I sell him at the right price? Sure. Would you rather have Gibbs, Achane, Coleman, or MHJ, Walker, Worthy? I'd rather have Gibbs, Achane, and Coleman. Let's see, MHJ, Walker, Worthy. Give me Gibbs, Achane, and Coleman. I still believe in Achane, so I'm going to take that side. But in a week or two from now, could I change my mind? I could. It's very close, but I think Achane's still, worth grabbing right now. 2-2. I've been hit with so many injuries. Everybody has. Please help me, Smitty. K1, MHJ, Godwin, London, Achane, Hubbard, Deontay, Kincaid, Waddle, CMC, Cup. You have been hit hard. You've been hard as much as anybody. Sending trades, they keep declining and got vetoed once. That sucks. I would say, look, your team's very good still. I'm trying to move Deontay and Hubbard, Waddle and Hubbard, Waddle, Deontay, Hubbard. I love that you have MHJ. Godwin's playing great. You could trade Godwin and Hubbard to go for a big name player. I think maybe, you could go after using Brooks and Waddle, a Bijan, using Deontay and Brooks, maybe a Kamara, maybe a Jacobs, using Hubbard and Brooks if you want to take a gamble on that. I personally think, they could be pretty even right now, and you could regret that, but you could also get a player that's extremely on the low. I think ETN would be a great player to get for free. So Dunze or Deontay for ETN could be a crafty running back move. MHJ's my buy low wide receiver. Appreciate you dropping the super chat, my guy. Thank you very much. Trade Mason and Ford for Brees. I would rather have Brees Hall, but Mason's that good to where you think about it for a second. Leggett or Wicks or Hunt or Chase Brown. Probably Hunt right now. I like Leggett probably next, and Wicks probably next after that. Should I offer London for Worthy? I'd rather have Worthy. Addison or Herbert? I'm going to go Addison right now. He's absolutely looking much better than we expected, like right out of the gate. Drop Dobbs for Wicks. I'd rather have Wicks. Ladd over Dobbs too, but Wicks probably over both of them. As BT locked in as a wide receiver 2. I would say at least a high-end wide receiver 3. 2, tough to say, but at least a high-end wide receiver 3. Mike Evans, Olave, Garrett Wilson, rest of season. Mike Evans, tier break, Olave, then Garrett Wilson in that order. Appreciate your super chat. I'm 3-1, Aaron Jones in London for Hall. I'd take Hall. Pretty easy. 2 QB league, trade CMC Herbert for Debo Darnold. I would take Debo Darnold in a heartbeat, bro. CMC may not even come back, and the quarterback upgrade on top of that. So you're winning both sides of the trade. Worthy and Jacobs for Hill and ETN. Nice job if you're winning both sides of the trade, by the way. Nice job. Worthy and Jacobs for Hill and ETN. I'd rather have Worthy and Jacobs, but that could go in a different direction the moment certain guys start playing better, right? That's kind of the risk you're taking there. Mahomes, Achane, Hall, Reek, Reed, McBride, Jacobs, Worthy, Cup 1 and 3. Don't think I'm moving much of this, bro. These are a lot of players you need to hold and wait on, and they're all really good. I would have faith in this team. I'd be very happy, Michael, if that was my team, even if I was 1 and 3. I'd have a pretty decent smile on my face knowing what I was dealing with. Pick one each, Wicks or Leggett. I'm going to go probably, you know what? I go back and forth on Wicks, Leggett. I'd say Wicks is safer, Leggett's higher risk, higher reward. And then I'm probably going to go Hunt, but they're pretty even as well. That could change with the wind. Shakir, Addison by a lot right now. Shakir's banged up, and Addison looked really, really good, bro. So Addison's very talented. Pickens and White for Wilson, Garrett Wilson. I go Garrett Wilson pretty easily. Pretty easily, my guy. What should I do? PPR 1 and 3. Murray, Achane, Mason, CD. It's a good team, bro. I'd be very tempted to maybe use JMO's huge week to get into a big upgrade somewhere. But you got K9, you got Achane, you got Mason, you got Kyler, you got CD. Losing Rice sucks. You know what? I'm going to say hold on this. Unless you're using Olave or Jameson to turn K9 into a top 4 or 5 running back, like Kyron, like K9 and JMO for Kyron and something. But even then, it's like K9's playing like a top 5 running back. I'm going to say hold off, Justin. I'm going to say hold off. And the depth is nice. You know, if anything, it's like, you know, you're plugging JMO straight in, and Olave is your bench guy. So maybe you trade Olave and Achane for Kyron, for Saquon on the semi, like he had one bad week low. Past that, I don't know. Maybe James Cook using Olave and I don't know. I don't think you can do anything, bro. I just wait. This team's very, very decent. You got a nice balance there. I would probably wait a week, but I would certainly keep my door open to trades, but I don't think I want to maneuver that team. Is this Deontay to KC thing real? There's a lot of rumors right now about could a player get traded to KC. It's all speculation, so there's no truth to anything yet because there's nothing being leaked. There's no information. KC will be, I think, potentially trying to get a potential wide receiver via trade, but it's not a lock. And Andy Reid's very much the kind of guy who'd say we don't need it. You know, I don't know, but I think Devontae Adams, T. Higgins would be a real threat. I also think that Michael Mayer, the tight end for the Raiders, should be considered to replace Travis Kelce and get them both out there in 2 tight end sets for a while. You know, roll some personnel that, you know, they could potentially be pretty effective that way. Is this Deontay? So the answer is no, because I traded him and Mason for Evans. Look, Mason is fantastic. I think Evans and Mason are kind of close. I'd rather have Mason, but if you needed a wide receiver, I get it. It's pretty even. Evans is fantastic. Okay, let's see here. We got Bijan. What if I was trading Cup, DK, and Monty for Debo, Kyron, and Algier? I'd love to have Debo, Kyron, and Algier. Like that Cup, DK, Monty side could win if Cup was back, but there's a lot of time. So, you know, I'd probably say do that and get that deal done. Yeah. Manu with the $20 super chat, nothing attached. Manu, you got to put it in the super chat, pal. I don't know if you put another message somewhere, but I appreciate you dropping that. I'll try and look for it later, but you got to include it in the message, otherwise I can't find it. And we've got 2,200 messages so far on the live stream, and we've been live for an hour and 20 minutes. Smitty, I'm beating myself up. I traded K9, Higgins, and Schultz for Olave, Pollard, and Bowers. I made the trade halfway through the game. Oh, why'd you do it halfway through the game? Joe, bro, Robbie. Oh, jeez. Appreciate you, though. Thank you, whatever this name is. Appreciate you. Can't say your name. I don't want to butcher it. 94 points. Allen, Barkley, Hall, Kyron, Chase. It's a good team. I got Debo and Amari and JSN and Kittle on my bench. What do I do, man? You gotta make a trade. Amari, and trade Ayuk. Why do you have Amari and Ayuk for one player? You know what I'm saying, bro? Keep the rest of it. You're trading Ayuk, Amari, or Debo, any two of those guys for one monster. One monster. Ayuk and Debo for a Chase. I mean, even MHJ. Ayuk and Amari for MHJ. You can figure it out. Just that combo of 3 players. Keep throwing trades at everybody. Stay down or trade. Stand down, you mean? Starters are Lamar, Gibbs, Cook, MHJ, Flowers, Ferguson, Stevenson. Stevenson and Flowers for one player. Waddle and Stevenson for one player. Absolutely. Brooks and Waddle. Brooks and Flowers for one player. Go for MHJ and above. Try for guys that even did well. You know, like Jamar Chase. Somebody might need 2 players. Try for St. Brown, maybe. That's a close one. But just keep throwing a bunch of those offers at the wall. Oh, you got MHJ already. I would say, God, wide receivers, you know, even like Evans would be tempting. You know, a potential Stevenson and Flowers for Mike Evans or higher. Just go for all of those names above Mike Evans. Joe, appreciate you with the $50 holler. Joe Gallagher coming strong. We got Maverick with the $20 holler. Maverick, appreciate you guys. Joe says 12 team, 1 QB. Joe, first of all,
Too much.
Joe to the mother freaking moon. 12 team, 1 QB, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, tight end flex. Running backs are Singletary, Moss, Braylon Allen. ETN wide receivers are MHJ, DK, Evans, Reed, Leggett. Thoughts on giving DK and ETN for Brees and Najee? I try and get a different player than Najee. I like where you're headed, but I don't want Najee. DK and ETN, it's very close right now, because if ETN falls off, which he may have, then it's like Brees versus DK. I'd rather have Brees. Get a different player, and then I Smitty approve it. You know what I'm saying, bro? 2-2, full PPR, Dynasty, 12 team. And it could be Worthy, it could be Tank Dell. Just get somebody other than Najee. Full PPR, Dynasty, 12 team, 2 flex. Mahomes, Najee, Jacobs. Those running backs are rough. Mahomes and MHJ and Rice, that's like Puka, that's like, God, you got hit hard. That's a good team. Currently contending, trade or hold. I mean, the problem is you can't trade Rice. I mean, you could try and trade Rice. Like, what are you going to get, though, you know? Are you capable of getting a player that might help you now? Like, let's say a... like a DK for Rice, you know, now, like, I guess I would attempt to do that. Jacobs and maybe a Puka for, I mean, Achane. If Achane's losing value now in redraft, imagine how cheap he is in Dynasty. So Achane, Maverick, go after Achane for that package. I would. Trade Waddle for Cooper. I'd rather have, I guess I'd rather have Amari Cooper right now, but I don't really want either of them. I guess I look at Cooper as having more trade value. Running backs, Achane, Eckler, Mostert, Ray Davis. Allen got offered Zamir for Allen. For Braylon Allen, I mean, no. If that's Keenan Allen, I'd still probably say no, because Zamir, what's Zamir going to do for you? Absolutely not, bro. The Bolt, appreciate you. People do drop studs. McBride was dropped in one of my leagues, dropping all of the fab on him. I agree, I would too. That's what I was trying to say when someone's like, no one's going to drop a guy like Laporta or McBride, Smitty. And I made the warning Friday and Saturday to check your drop list and make sure you're keeping tabs on that. Brees to Saturn 4-0. Scared money don't make money. Thank you, DeBalt. Appreciate you, pal. Serge, appreciate your super chat, my man. Serge says traded CD, Achane, and Ferguson for Henry, Debo, and Brock. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I can Smitty approve that. I could argue both sides, but like, you've got the upside. You've got the now, the momentum. 10-team full PPR trade Jonathan Brooks and Ridley for Terry McLaurin. I probably would say if I need a wide receiver, sure. If you needed a running back and you could spare letting McLaurin go, I could see it going that way too. So I'm okay with that trade if you really like McLaurin, and I do. McLaurin's, you know, set up nicely now. Lost Rice team is AR5 Fields, Achane, Walker, Brooks, Chase Brown, Rice, Worthy, Dell, Ferguson. What the hell do you do? I'd probably say I'm holding those RBs. I'm maybe shopping Brooks, and you're probably holding Hill. It's hard to trade him, so Worthy, a hold. Dell, you got a pretty good squad, bro. I maybe try Brooks and Hill for like a upgrade. Maybe you can get, I don't think you get a Jamar Chase, but maybe you could get a JJ doing that. You know, it's not like JJ's been exploding, but he's been good. He's been really good. The last couple of games, or the last game at least, he was wide receiver 12 and he's wide receiver 13, which is awesome. But it might have somebody saying, hey, I'm struggling, I need 2 players. Tyreek Hill could be Tyreek Hill, and you're throwing in a guy like Brooks that makes that a feasible thing to daydream about. So go after a top wide receiver with that combo. Allen, running back, Bijan, Henry, Deontay Johnson, Christian Kirk, Flex, Jacobs, bench Coleman. I like this team. A trader, ride it out. If you're 0-4, you're struggling bad, but I mean, I don't know that unless I could trade Henry for like Bijan and like a DK type. Try and poke around at that. You kind of have to look at it. You're 0-4. Like, you almost have to look at selling Henry for 2 players. Just buy 2 players you love. Come to me with the offers, but go to everybody. Try and do like a Bijan. Try and do, honestly, Achane and a receiver, MHJ or something like that. You might be able to get that for Henry right now. Even though Kyron. Kyron and a receiver. Even though Kyron's been playing well, Henry's probably somebody wants to trade for. So, 10-man league PPR redraft: Lamar, Kyron, Achane, Rashid Rice, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Lamar, Kyron, Achane, Rashid Rice, Amon-Ra T. I like this team. But Debo replacing Rice in the lineup, bro. Stand down. Don't freak out. That team is too good to mess with. I like the squad a lot. 12-man full PPR: Lamar, Connor, Monty, ETN, Jefferson. Any suggestions? I'm going to say Monty or Connor. Trade him as high as you can with Adams for 1 stud from St. Brown and above. St. Brown and above. I forget where that chat was. I have Corum. Would you drop Algier for Rivers? If you have Kyron, if you just have Corum, no. I mean, I'm not trying to cuff just the backups in that situation. Trying to trade Ayuk and Amari for MHJ. Would DK, Evans, Olave, or Garrett Wilson also work? So trade Ayuk and Amari for DK. That might be a little much because Ayuk could still come around. Evans, maybe. Garrett Wilson, Olave, absolutely not. You could make an argument that Ayuk is equal to those guys. 12-man full PPR keeper: Lamar, Connor, Monty. Okay, so full 4-man keeper. I think this is the one I already read. Yeah, Adams and Connor for 1 better player. St. Brown, MHJ type player. It's tough. I mean, it's a good team though. ETN and Adams for a top 5-6 running back, maybe. That's rough. In a keeper league too, it makes it really difficult to evaluate on the fly like that. We'd have to like deep dive into some stuff, but maybe we'll do that on a phone call too. But guys I like buying in keeper right now would be Achane, because I still believe in him. The situation is just messy. Thanks to the Go 8 teams PPR, 18 PPR, JD5, Hall, Bijan, Rice, DK, Ferguson, Walker. Bench is Allen, Dell. Nice job, bro. At least Dell could come in. Laporta, Doomsday, Devontae Smith, Steele. You got plenty of options. I'm not worried. Any moves to make? No, I don't think so. I think your team is fantastic, and you got enough firepower to move one of those wide receivers in. You got Laporta. I'm trading Ferguson, maybe. Ferguson and one of the wide receivers. Ferguson and Devontae Smith. Ferguson and a Doomsday. Ferguson and Ferguson and maybe one of the wide receivers for just an upgrade. You know, you're trying to grab a Nico. You're trying to grab a potential Marvin Harrison Jr. Maybe even a Mike Evans. Or you're standing down because you're 4-0, and that tells you something. You're doing the right things. You have the right team. 10-man league, 3-1. Mahomes, Love, Hall, Kyron, Jacobs, Dobbins, Irving, Rice, RIP, Smith, Wilson, Coleman. Any moves? Feel like I need a wide receiver now. Mahomes, Love. I'd probably say with this squad, I'm standing down except for trading Dobbins and maybe Smith, or Dobbins and Wilson for 1 slight MHJ St. Brown type upgrade. The problem is, bro, these wide receivers are no longer going to be very cheap anymore. It's going to be harder and harder to try and acquire. You might have to start considering, like, do you bank on an Evans being in that category or not? I'm mad. 2-2, tight ends killing me. Team is Burrow, Bijan, Rashad White, Bucky, Wilson, DK. Man, it's tough. Brooks. Maybe Brooks, and try selling Jennings while you can. Brooks and Jennings. Brooks and maybe, I like Depot and DK, bro. That's really, really solid. Brooks and Bucky and White for 1 slight upgrade. Walker would have been perfect. Now Walker's off the table. maybe Achane is worth taking a gamble with that Tampa Bay running back room with Brooks, that Tampa Bay running back room with Jennings. I think Achane is dirt cheap right now. I'm going to take a stab at it. Past that, it's kind of like, what do you do? What running back can you even attack? Is Monty attainable? Is Kamara attainable? Is JT injured attainable and worth the risk? I think maybe he is in that scenario to give up all of that. I just don't know if people are going to bite on that. It's really hard. You got to almost rip someone off at this point to get something like that done with that team, because you're trying to trade just those select pieces, and you got to ask yourself if James Cook's worth it. Maybe. 2 flex: Burrow, Gibbs, ETN, Nico, Neighbors, Reed, Debo, McBride. Love the team. Am I moving anything? No, because I love that entire team, minus maybe ETN. I like buying ETN dirt cheap, but also sell them. So I don't know, though. The problem is I don't know that I'd rather take the gamble. See if you can get Bigsby and just lock it up. If not, then I guess you're considering trading like Reed and ETN for an Achane or one slightly better player. Turtle, appreciate you. 2-2, Lost Rice, QB, Carr, wide receiver, Chase, Waddle, Coleman. Hit that thumb up button. We're about 100 subscribers away from 30K. We've got 1,100 people in here. 382 thumbs up, so slap the thumb up button. We could definitely, if we get at least half the thumbs up, I mean, we've got 1,100 people in here. Can we get 500 of you to hit the thumb up button? And second of all, at least 300 or 400 of you. Brand new. It's usually about 30, easily 30% of any live stream. People just don't hit the subscribe button. They may even search for you each day. They may pull you up. If 100 of you, 300 people that have not subscribed, of the 1,100 of you watching, hit the subscribe button right now. We'll go to 30K on the live stream, and I'll change it behind me to 30K up on the board here. So just need 100 of you, 1,100 people to hit that subscribe button if you're new. Carr, Chase, Waddle, Coleman, Judy, Achane, Henry. I don't know what to do in this situation, because honestly, we just got 10 subscribes right there. Just appreciate every single one of you. Keep hitting the subscribe. We might hit 30K on this live stream. That'll be so exciting to actually get about 200 subscribers on this live stream and switch that over to 30K live on the show. Be a part of history. So hit that subscribe button. They're going like this. We got, I think, about 105 left. There's another one. Appreciate you. Carr, look, I'm scared about this Carr situation. If there's anything I'm trying to clean up here, it's Carr. If I got to give up Dowdle, thank you for the other subscribe. Someone just hit it again. Dowdle, Pollard. I'm keeping Henry and Achane. Jamar Chase, I'm keeping Jamar Chase. Carr, I don't like Carr. Thank you for the subscribe. Look, we got 100 now. We're 100 away. 99 away from 30K. 99 subscribes away from 30K. We got 1,100 people in here to get that done. Guarantee you there's more than 100 in here to haven't hit subscribe. I'm trying to go Dowdle and Pollard to upgrade Carr. I just don't know if you're going to be able to do it. Who has 2 QBs, bro? Someone's got to have JD5 and the quarterback they drafted. They no longer even want to look at their face. They want the temptation gone. They would maybe, make this move. Other than that, if you feel like you can't win with this team, which I think you could, you just need to get a small QB upgrade, then you could potentially try and trade Derrick Henry for a very good Kyren Williams and player, wide receiver, for a very good, dare I say, Jordan Mason or JT, and a very good wide receiver. You have to upgrade the wide receiver once you go down a little bit, But I'd try and get a QB. 98 subscribers away from 30K. It's exciting. They just keep coming in. You guys are amazing. Turtle, appreciate you dropping your super chat. Alec, appreciate you. Alex says, got offered T. Higgins and J-Mo and Achane for my Kyren. That's a really good offer. Chat, could we get a vote on this one? Kyren for T, J-Mo, and Achane. T. Higgins, J-Mo, and Achane. Would you rather have Achane, J-Mo, and T. Higgins, or Kyren? Please vote in the chat for Alec. Alec needs your help. I would love to get a group think on that one. That one's a very, very tough one. John, your team right here, bro. 4 bench, you have 4 bench. Okay, trade ideas. Would probably grab Ertz off waivers. Okay. Mahomes, Bijan, Achane, DK, Pickens, McLaurin, Worthy. I love Worthy. Worthy and DK are your number 1 and number 2 wide receivers, in my opinion. And I'd be very tempted very tempted to try and move Pickens or McLaurin or both of them together. Maybe with Andrews, one of them with Andrews, or both of them together. You could trade Pickens and Achane for a tiny bit safer RB to the tune of you could go Kamara if you wanted. You could go Mason if you could get Garendo. You could go a handful of guys. You could keep Bijan, Mahomes, Achane, DK, and Worthy and say, how can I take Pickens, McLaurin, and Andrews, or Pickens, McLaurin, and Likely, roll with one of those guys? I don't know. No one's going to really trade for those guys. Let's say Pickens and McLaurin for, I don't even know if you can get anything for that right now. I mean, it's a good combo, but can you get one wide receiver for that? Can you get, let's say, MHJ? Can you get maybe a Mike Evans? Try for both of those guys, John. Mike Evans and MHJ. Those are big time swings that can get you big time points and single-handedly win weeks. Those are big heavy hitters. 3-1, 12-man. Josh Allen, Henry, Jacobs, St. Brown, Chase, Ferguson. Not touching this team other than I'm trying to get rid of Bucky with Pollard, or Keenan Allen with Bucky, Keenan Allen with Pollard. Baker if someone needs a QB, and that's it. I'm trying to make some small move and maneuver with that. Worthy comes to mind. Keenan Allen for Dell comes to mind. Pollard for Dell, Pollard for Worthy, Pollard and Baker if someone needs a QB. Past that, bro, and that's a $20 hauler, by the way, so you're going to the Mars, my guy. You're going to Mars. There you go. We need 90 more subscribers. Mars. 90 more subscribers to get to 30K on this show. That's exciting. I'm excited. I think it's possible. We got 1,100 people in here, and I know we have over 100 people that haven't subscribed. We got about 300 that haven't subscribed easily. Maybe more than that, because that's the way live streams go. 90 more subscribes. Let's do it live. Professor, appreciate your $20 hauler. That's the only move. I don't want to. The reason that. Okay, how about this? Keenan Allen or Bucky or Pollard to upgrade Jacobs slightly. I think James Cook's a good target. Obviously, I go for a Kyren or an Achane. Past that, it's going to get Worthy or go get Dell for a Pollard or something like that, or a Keenan Allen. Very much buy Dell on the cheap. Team is 1-3, but top scoring team, QB. You got Achane and Walker. Nice job. So you started Walker. That was a really good decision, Rockout. Excellent job, MHJ Hill. This team's really good, Rockout. Stay the course. It sucks you lost Rice, but J-Mo's going to step up. I don't honestly touch this team. I let these ballers ball out, bro. They're a really good group you got assembled there. Keep the faith. $5, 10-team league, PPR, lost Rice, Love, Hall, Jacobs, London, Coleman, Bowers, Connor, benches, Fields, Dowdle, Benson, Likely, targets without a QB, running back. Targets with a QB or running back. What's this mean with the QB? You mean trying to get rid of Fields or something? I think in general, just looking at this team, I'd say I very much keep Hall. No one else is safe to me. I would trade Jacobs with a Fields if somebody needed a QB to upgrade Jacobs into a Cook, James Cook, or obviously an Achane or Kyren, but you probably won't get Kyren. Jacobs in London could maybe get you a top 4 or 5 wide receiver if someone's hurting and they need to make a trade, but it's going to be hard to do that. So I would say Connor and maybe a Dowdle, or Connor and a London for an Evans and something. I think Jacobs and Dowdle or Jacobs and Fields. I think the key is finding somebody that needs a QB and looking at their rosters. I don't know that you can do much other than Jacobs and London for one big gun, but you're running the risk of, if you don't get a high enough player, a big enough baller, bro, and it's hard to say who's going to for sure earn that. Like MHJ, is that too much for MHJ? MHJ is Connor and let's see here. Is London and Connor too much for MHJ? Chat, would you rather have MHJ or Connor? Connor or MHJ? Please vote in the chat for Dutta to see what Dutta would do. We need 89 more subscribers to get to 30K. Please punch that button for your boy Smitty. I appreciate you guys. It'd be exciting if we could get to 30K on this live stream. Another $20 hauler. My team has a lot of buys for week 5. Who should I drop to make waiver wire move? Stroud Okay, so obviously we're not dropping Stroud. Probably say of this team, Mostert right now is probably your drop. However, he's going to try and come back. You know that Miami Mike loves him. But what else are you going to do? You can't drop anybody else. You'd either be dropping Coleman, Wright, or Mostert. I'm kind of okay with any one of the three. Chat, if we could vote on who you drop, which player would you drop? Mostert, Wright, or Coleman? Please vote for Gerbil. I think I'd probably say Mostert because he's hurt. Might come back, though. Bad Sport, appreciate your super chat. I picked up Fields and Braylon Allen off waivers. Thanks. Breaking news is unmatched. Thank you, Bad Sport. Appreciate your support and kind words. I have JD5 Love. JD5 Love, Kamara, Aaron Jones, K9 Brooks, Malik Neighbors, BT, Calvin Brooks, or Brock. Who do I trade for? If it's one QB, I'm trying to trade one of the quarterbacks. Obviously, I hold JD5. I don't want to trade him. Kamara and K9 are fantastic. Aaron Jones is a good sell high. Aaron Jones, keep Neighbors, keep Nico. Aaron Jones and BT for one player. Aaron Jones and BT for Debo. You might even be a candidate to trade Brooks for Cup. Trade Brooks for Puka, maybe. You could survive that, I think. BT for Cooper Cup. BT for... I mean, you could say Puka if you wanted. I think you're a good candidate for a Puka or specifically a Cup trade. Absolutely. Remember I said trade for Debo last week and then he just played. He played the week. I'm a Josh Allen owner. Lost Rashee Rice. Richardson owner will trade Godwin for Darnold. I would take Godwin in a second. Yeah, adding Godwin. Yeah, absolutely. Then I consider flipping him for like MHJ by adding something into it. Consider flipping him, but absolutely take Godwin and run. I'd rather have Evans over Godwin if you can make that swap after. Goff, Darnold, Connor, Pollard, Singletary, Ramondre. 2 for 2 and 2. What trade should you make? London Diggs. That's a tough team. I'd say, God, that's tough, bro. This team, no offense, this team is very, very, very tough to even trade anybody. Like Tyreek has no value. I hate to tell you, bro, but if you made a trade, you'd probably be making your team worse. Because how are you going to trade into these guys? No one's going to buy them on the high. Your only hope is maybe like, I don't know. I'm sorry. This team is brutal. Goff, Darnold, Connor, Pollard. I don't know what to do on this team. Ramondre, Sharps, Tyreek. I try and sell Tyreek. I try and get into a Worthy or a DK with a player like Jacobs or something. Go to the Jacobs owner. Maybe you got to take a gamble on ETN and a receiver for Tyreek Hill. But it better be a damn good wide receiver. That is a really tough team. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just stressing that you need to make a move and you need to try and get that ETN or that Jacobs to pop. Love, Hall, Jacobs, London, Coleman, Bowers, Connor, Benches, Fields out. Lost Rice, Love, Hall, Jacobs, London. I maybe trade in Connor and London for a big dog. MHJ and above. Dowdle and Connor, Dowdle and London for a slight upgrade, MHJ and above. Hold Jacobs unless you can trade Jacobs and like Dowdle or Jacobs in London for like a big dog, but St. Brown's off the board now. Jacobs for Evans I'm trying to get into if Dowdle can get that done. Evans would be a very good buy low. I think Evans is probably one of the best buy lows in fantasy this week. He'll be on the buy low list. He's got the capability of being an absolute 2-touchdown guy. Made a trade, Smitty, full PPR. I gave Hubbard, BT, Laporta for Adams and Jacobs and Pitts. You're not going to like what I'm going to say. I don't think it's a bad trade, but I think the way Hubbard's playing right now, and it is temporary, and I do think it's smart to trade him. This side might outscore the other side potentially for a week or two. Adams, we don't even know if Adams is going to be healthy. Jacobs playing bad, but I acquire him on the risk that he, does or does not bounce back at a low cost of entry. I guess I would say I like this trade in general. I don't like getting rid of Laporta though. I really think Laporta is going to go on a tear. However, and I love BT, I think it's not a horrible move. I think it's okay. I think it's okay. You're just hoping for Jacobs to turn it around and Adams to get traded to either the Packers or the Kansas City Chiefs. which could happen. Kyron and Gibbs, Mahomes, Jacobs, Mixon, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, Laporta. I like this team a lot. Worthy. Maybe I'm trying to get rid of Garrett Wilson and Keenan. Garrett Wilson and Devontae Smith for one big stud. Garrett Wilson and Devontae Smith could maybe get you St. Brown. Could maybe get you a JJ, but I highly doubt it. Gibbs and Jacobs for JJ. Only problem there is who's your RB2 if Mixon gets hurt again, but maybe you take that gamble. Gibbs and Garrett Wilson for JJ. I'd try Jacobs, or not Gibbs, I'm sorry. Don't trade Gibbs. I make Jacobs. My brain's mush. Jacobs and Garrett Wilson for one top dog. JJ, Jamar Chase. Going to be hard to pull off. JJ's going to be a little easier. Carmine just made a trade. Smitty, full PPR. Hubbard. Oh, I just read that one. Thank you, Carmine. Appreciate you. Ivan. London, Kincaid for McLaurin, DJ Moore, Pitts. Give me London, Kincaid. But pretty close, bro. And the final super chat of the evening. Thank goodness we're able to chat for a second. I don't know how much longer I'm going to stay on, though. I'm exhausted. Trade Bijan and Pitts for Kelsey and Connor. Chat, what are we doing on this one? I'm going to probably bank on Bijan bouncing back, bro. 3,000 chat messages. We're about 85 subscribers away from 30K. And we've got 1,000 people in here. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. Guys, what are we doing here? I'm probably leaning Bijan. I'm going to bank on Bijan still. I'm not giving up on Bijan at that cost. I think I just hang tight on it. $10 haulers. Appreciate the back-to-backs from Arthur and from One. Appreciate you. This one from Grant. Grant, appreciate you. I have an option to trade Achane for Gibbs. There goes the moment of break for calls. I'm sorry, guys. I have an option to trade Achane for Gibbs and Drake London. I would take Drake London in a second. I'm sorry, Gibbs in a second over Achane. I made that clear last week, and Gibbs just exploded and Achane didn't. So nothing's changed, Grant. So if you're getting London, you're smashing it. And Jordan Mason for Deontay and Joe Dixon. I'd rather have Mason. No way I'm trading Mason, bro. No way in hell I'm trading Mason. Let's see here. Okay, Arthur, 10-man league. I have Allen, Cook, Steele, CD, Worthy, Pitts, Cup, Robinson. Also, if CMC any moves, CMC's worthless. I wouldn't cut him, but yeah, he might be worthless. But he's supposed to be trying to make a comeback, regardless of the news. Like Shanahan said, he's gonna come back. They're gonna try and ramp him up this week, and that they revealed that he had tendonitis in both Achilles. But that news was not shocking. It's not a revelation. He says he's always known that. So the news is that CMC's gonna try and dial it up. I don't know. I think he tears an Achilles trying it. But I have Allen, Cook, Steele. CD Worthy is a really good team. Cup injury didn't help you. CMC injury didn't help you. I don't know what you can do at RB though, but just try and maybe divide CD into two players, and we're talking like a Bijan and a DK type. You got an MHJ and a James Cook. Those are the moves you're gonna have to make, Arthur. You're gonna have to try and get two players for one. So go to the Cook owner, go to the Bijan owner, go to the Achane owner, and try and figure out how to get a wide receiver with that and bring the wide receiver. Let's see if it's enough. Gibbs, Singletary, Sun God, MHJ, Kincaid, Chase Brown, Bucky, Akers, Cup. Do I trade Mahomes for B-Rob Jr.? Because you got Darnold, I'd rather trade Darnold, my guy. I'd rather trade Darnold and give up a little more to go after something. B-Rob Jr. is nice. I'm not saying he isn't, but do I start Mahomes going forward? I do. I know people want to start Darnold. I'm not going to start Darnold over Mahomes personally. I get why people want to, but I'm not going to let 4 weeks, change that. I would try and trade Darnold. Darnold has more value. It seems people have more value on Darnold than Mahomes anyway right now, right? So trade Darnold. Give up somebody if you need to. Somebody like Shaheed, I would easily throw in. Singletary, I'd throw in. to get that done. You could also go after a Monty. You could go after an ETN on the risk that ETN does not bounce back. I would definitely consider that. Trade ideas, trade by Higgins and Stevenson and Dowdle for Jacobs and Debo / Charbonnet. Of course I would take Jacobs and Debo for Higgins and Stevenson in a heartbeat. In a millisecond, my guy. Trade by Higgins and Stevenson. Yeah, easily. Bruce, appreciate you. Drop Carson Steele for Blake Corum. Yeah, but Ronnie Rivers is the backup right now, bro. So right now it would be Ronnie Rivers. AR5 gone. Rice is iffy. Still have Brees, Sun God, Monty, Bowers, Aubrey, Caleb, Rome, Hunt, and he moves. Evans, Laporta, Thomas for Amon-Ra and Bowers. Evans, Laporta, and BT for Amon-Ra and Bowers. I would take Evans, Laporta, and BT. I probably would take... Chat, do you agree? Mike Evans, Laporta, and BT for Amon-Ra and Bowers. I don't know. In a redraft. Let's see what the chat thinks on that one. I'm leaning toward Laporta and Evans. I think Laporta is going to bounce back. But then again, it's like Bowers is so good. I don't know. Let's let the chat decide on this one. Sway me, chat. Sway me. Which angle are we going? Evans, Laporta, BT, or Amon-Ra Bowers? Amon-Ra Bowers. Bowers side, Amon-Ra side, Sun God. Evans side. Bowers side. Bowers side's winning pretty heavily. Evans side gets another vote. It's close. You know what? Roll with Bowers. Bowers is the real deal. I like Laporta bouncing back, though. I really do. And Evans is going to be a great buy low. Trade my Higgins and Stevenson for B-Rob. No, I don't think so. I don't think I would do that one. Traded Barkley and Darnold and second for Bijan Mason. Thoughts? Of course, I like the in like a long-term dynasty league. Of course, I like Bijan and Mason more. Barkley's awesome, but Barkley is going to be on borrowed time. Masonites assemble. Appreciate you, Gary. That's a great trade, bro. Great trade. All right, guys, I'm exhausted. I'm going to bail. Appreciate everybody. We'll open the phone lines tomorrow. We'll definitely go live like probably midday. Appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for all the subscribers, the super chats. We're about 85 subscribers away from 30K. I imagine we get there on a show tomorrow or at least the next day, which is exciting. We're going to hit 20K or 30K on a show this week. If you could hit that subscribe button on the way out the door, it would help us get closer to that. Slap the like button on the way out the door. Appreciate every single one of you. And I can't thank you enough. Appreciate you all.
It was brought to my attention I might be talking a little bit too much about the same topic lately. I've been doing a lot of JD5 posts, and I know people are saying, Smitty, I wish you could create more diverse content. You've been like 4 of your last 10 posts have been about JD5, and I just said, I don't know. I guess my reaction wasn't really the best. So I want to first acknowledge that and just say, no one's perfect. I'm always trying to get better. And I do think you won't hear any more. I'm gonna stay away from JD5 content. Never. Come on, bro.
There are 2 5s? JD5? AR5? There can't be.
Oh no. They're gonna cross streams.
Oops. Well, damn. He's a fragile Freddy.
He's a 5. JD5 is the only 5. JD5 is him, and now all can see. He graduated from Himothy University. Unleash the war.
Washington Kraken, JD5 to Saturn,
And beyond.
to Saturn,
And beyond.
Supernova.
See you all later. Appreciate you very much. This is an old one. Darren, appreciate that last show. All right. I'll see you all tomorrow. Appreciate you. Please hit that like button on the way out the door. Slap it. We only need 84 subscribers, and we're at 30K. So tomorrow we hopefully hit that. See you all tomorrow. Appreciate you.